I still remember Ethan saying, "We'll make it, man, even if it kills us," and I laughed because I believed him. "I'm in," I told him back then. All in. We had nothing except a shared desk, 2 cracked laptops, and coffee that tasted like regret. "One more night," Ethan would say, rubbing his eyes. "One more push." I'd answer, "One more, then we sleep." We never slept. I worked the phones while he handled suppliers. "Trust me," he'd say. "I've got this side covered." I trusted him. I trusted him with numbers, contracts, and my future. When clients yelled, he joked. When rent was late, I panicked. "Relax," he'd tell me. "We're building something real." Sometimes I'd ask, "You ever think about quitting?" He'd stare at me like I was crazy. "Together or nothing," he'd say. "That's the deal." I believed that deal meant loyalty, not paperwork. Maya used to sit on the floor near my desk. "You've been here all night again," she'd say softly. "I brought food." She never asked about money or strategy. She just touched my arm and said, "I believe in you." I needed that more than advice. "This company is our future," I told her once. She smiled and said, "Just don't lose yourself to it." I promised her I wouldn't, and I meant it. Ethan and I talked about offices like kids talking about mansions. "Glass walls," he'd say. "Big table." I'd reply, "A place where we can breathe." When the landlord finally called, I shouted, "We did it." Ethan laughed and said, "See? I told you." We sat across from each other signing papers. "This is it," I said. "No more scrambling." He nodded, pen moving fast. "We're locked in now," he said. I felt proud. I felt safe. I felt like nothing could break what we built together. I remember saying, "This isn't just work to me." Ethan answered, "Good, because I'm not walking away." I asked, "You swear?" He said, "On everything." Late nights blurred together. "Did you lock up?" I'd ask. "Yeah," he'd reply. "Did you email the client?" "Just did." Our voices echoed in empty rooms. "Someday," I said, "this will matter." He said, "It already does." Maya once whispered, "You trust him too much." I laughed and said, "He's my partner." She frowned. "Just be careful." I kissed her forehead and said, "We're solid." When doubts hit me, Ethan pushed back. "You think I'd screw you?" he snapped once. I said, "No, never." He smiled and said, "Good." The day of the lease, my hands shook. "Nervous?" Ethan asked. "Excited," I said. Maya squeezed my fingers and said, "I'm proud of you." I believed her. I believed him. I believed we were finally safe. We stood outside the building after. "Picture our name on that door," Ethan said. I laughed and said, "We earned it." He replied, "Damn right." Maya asked, "Dinner to celebrate?" I said, "Soon." Ethan said, "After this grind, everything changes." I nodded and said, "Together." I looked at the keys and said, "This is real." Ethan clapped my shoulder. "Told you not to doubt us." I felt full. I felt ready. I felt certain that trust like ours couldn't fail. I said, "We'll remember this day." Ethan said, "When we're bigger." Maya smiled and said, "When you're happy." I believed growth meant safety. I believed loyalty was permanent. I believed signatures meant protection. I didn't know hope could be this loud before breaking. I walked away smiling. I thought the future was sealed. I thought betrayal was impossible. I thought I had chosen the right partner. Ethan said, "This is just the beginning." I said, "The best beginning." Maya squeezed my hand, and I believed every word. I didn't know endings hide inside beginnings, waiting quietly. That truth would come later, after everything collapsed. I trusted completely, and that trust felt unbreakable. "I'm here to pick up the final copy of the lease," I said, smiling like someone who finally won. The receptionist blinked. "Your name?" "Mine," I said. "And my partner's." "Ethan." She typed, frowned, then said, "It's already signed." I laughed. "Right. I'm here for the signed copy." She shook her head. "No, sir. It was signed yesterday." "That's impossible," I said. I was waiting for the call. She turned the screen toward me. "The lease is under Ethan's name only." My chest tightened. "Only?" "Yes." I stepped back. "There has to be a mistake." She stood. "Mr. Collins can explain." Mr. Collins walked out slowly. "You must be." "I'm his partner," I cut in. "There's been an error." He adjusted his glasses. "There isn't." I asked, "Why wasn't I notified?" He said, "Your partner said he'd handle it." I stared at him. "Handle what?" "The lease," he said calmly. "He requested sole tenancy." My mouth went dry. "Without me?" Mr. Collins nodded. "That's what the paperwork says." I pulled out my phone and called Ethan. "Where are you?" "At the office," he said. "Why?" "Did you sign the lease?" There was a pause. "Yeah." "Without me?" Another pause. "Come here." I drove fast. My hands shook. When I walked in, Ethan was sitting at my desk. My desk. "What did you do?" I asked. He leaned back. "I secured the space." "You cut me out," I said. He sighed. "I streamlined things." "That wasn't your call," I snapped. He stood. "It was my call. I made it." I said, "We agreed." "We agreed to succeed," he interrupted. "This was the smart move." "You lied," I said. He shrugged. "I adapted." I asked, "So what am I to you now?" He looked at me like I was slow. "You're not needed anymore." My ears rang. "Say that again." "The business needs one decision maker," he said. "Not two." I said, "You stole from me." He laughed. "You didn't own anything." "That's not true," I said. "I built this." He stepped closer. "You helped." Security appeared behind me. "Sir, we need you to leave." I looked at Ethan. "You did this?" He said quietly, "It's better this way." I said, "You promised." He replied, "Promises don't pay rent." I walked out numb. The hallway felt longer than before. My phone buzzed. Maya texted, "How did it go?" I typed, deleted, typed again. "Bad." She called. "What happened?" I said, "He took it." "Took what?" "Everything." She whispered, "Oh my God." I sat in my car, staring at the building. I remembered Ethan saying, "Together or nothing." I laughed out loud. "Nothing," I said. Mr. Collins called later. "I'm sorry it went this way." "Why didn't you warn me?" I asked. "He told me you approved," he said. I closed my eyes. Of course he did. That night, Ethan emailed me. This isn't personal. It's business. I replied, you're wrong. He didn't answer. Maya said, you can fight this. With what? I asked. Trust? She said, with truth. I stared at the ceiling and said, truth doesn't own buildings. She went quiet. I replayed every conversation. Every late night. Every promise. I felt stupid. I felt exposed. The lease wasn't mine. The office wasn't mine. The future wasn't mine anymore. I whispered, he planned this. Maya said, then he underestimated you. I didn't believe her yet. All I knew was this, the partnership was over. The trust was dead. And something inside me had just cracked open. I didn't know what I'd become next. But I knew I wasn't done. Sit down, Lena said. You look like you haven't slept in days. I haven't, I said. Sleeping feels like giving up. She poured coffee. Talk. I said, he took everything. She didn't rush me. Start from the part that hurts most. The silence, I said. No calls. No meetings. Just nothing. She nodded. Loss is loud when it first hits. Then it goes quiet. Maya sat on the couch. I don't know what to say anymore. Say you're still here, I said. She said softly, I'm here. But distant, I replied. She looked down. I don't understand your world anymore. I snapped, neither do I. Lena cut in. Hey. Easy. I said, sorry. I just keep hearing his voice. What does it say? Lena asked. I laughed bitterly. Promises don't pay rent. Maya whispered, that's cruel. So was he, I said. My phone buzzed. An email. Ethan's name. I didn't open it. Lena said, what if you read it? What if I break? I said. Maya said, you're already broken. That hurt because it was true. I paced. I gave him everything. Lena said, you gave him trust. And he weaponized it, I replied. Maya asked, what do you want now? I said, revenge. Lena raised an eyebrow. Or justice. What's the difference? I asked. Time, she said. Saturday, I feel stupid. You were loyal, Lena said. That's not stupidity. It feels like it, I said. Maya said, you don't have to prove anything. I do, I said. To myself. Silence stretched. I said, do you know what rock bottom sounds like? Lena asked, what? It's when your phone doesn't ring, I said. When the world moves on without you. Maya reached for my hand. I pulled away. She said, I'm trying. I know, I said. I just don't know who I am now. Lena leaned forward. You're the same man who built something from nothing. That man trusted the wrong person, I said. She said, and learned. Maya asked, what are you thinking? I said, I keep replaying it. The smiles. The lies. That will poison you, Lena said. Maybe I deserve it, I replied. No, she said firmly. You deserve clarity. I laughed. Clarity won't pay bills. Lena smiled slightly. Neither did hope. But you had that once. Maya stood. I need some air. Go, I said. After she left, I said, she's slipping away. Lena said, you're slipping away. I whispered, what if this is it? She shook her head. This is a pause, not an ending. I asked, how do you know? Because you're angry, she said. And anger means you still care. I looked at my hands. I don't want to become bitter. Then don't, she said. Become smarter. I asked, how? She leaned back. By asking the right question. What question? I said. She looked straight at me. What did he miss when he tried to erase you? I didn't answer. That night, alone, I listened to the city through the window. Cars. Voices. Life continuing. I said out loud, I'm still here. No one answered. But for the first time since the lease, I didn't feel empty. I felt angry. I felt awake. And somewhere beneath the hurt, I felt something else forming. Resolve. What do you mean you want to talk numbers? Victor asked. I mean real numbers, I said. Not hope. Not feelings. He studied me. You sound different. I lost everything, I said. It changes how you listen. Lena sat beside me. Just hear him out. Victor nodded. Tell me what you still have. My credit, I said. My work history. My name. And your skills, he added. I guess, I said. Ethan took the business. He took a position, Victor said. Not your ability. I leaned forward. He signed a lease behind my back. Victor smiled faintly. Leases expire. I paused. What? He said, ownership lasts longer. Lena raised her eyebrows. Say that again. Victor said calmly, buildings have owners. Tenants come and go. I asked, why are you telling me this? Because you asked how power works, he replied. I laughed once. Power walked me out of my own office. No, he said. Ignorance did. That stung. Victor continued, who owns the building? Mr. Collins, I said. And how is he doing financially? Victor asked. I don't know, I said. Victor leaned back. Then find out. Lena whispered, this feels dangerous. I said, so did trusting Ethan. Victor said, here's what your partner didn't steal. What? I asked. Your discipline, he said. Your patience. Your reputation. I looked down. Reputation doesn't buy buildings. No, Victor said. But it opens doors. I met Mr. Collins 2 days later. He said, I didn't expect to hear from you. I didn't expect to be replaced, I said. He sighed. Business gets messy. I'm not here to complain, I said. I'm here to ask. Ask what, he said. Are you selling? I asked. He froze. I added, hypothetically. He leaned back. Why would I sell? Because the market is shifting, I said. And maintenance costs are rising. His eyes narrowed. You've done research. I had time, I said. He laughed softly. Your partner never asked questions. I replied, that was his mistake. He didn't deny it. That night, Maya said, you're chasing him again. I'm chasing control, I said. She shook her head. I'm scared for you. I was scared when I trusted him, I replied. She went quiet. Victor called later. He's interested. In selling? I asked. In listening, Victor said. That's step 1. I said, what's step 2? Silence, he replied. Let him wonder. Days passed. Ethan texted me once. You good? I didn't reply. Victor said, you're doing well. I haven't won anything, I said. You stopped bleeding, he said. That matters. Lena said, I don't recognize you. I asked, is that bad? No, she said. It's focused. Mr. Collins finally called. Let's talk terms. My heart raced. When? Tomorrow, he said. I hung up and stared at the wall. Maya asked, what if this fails? Then I fail knowing, I said. Not guessing. She nodded slowly. I miss the old you. I don't, I said. The meeting was quiet. Numbers moved. Papers slid. No smiles. Mr. Collins said, your offer is serious. It has to be, I said. He tapped the table. Why do this? I answered honestly. Because I won't beg for space again. He studied me. You've changed. Yes, I said. I learned. When I walked out, Victor said, how do you feel? Calm, I said. Dangerously calm. Lena smiled. That's power. I didn't feel victorious. I felt prepared. Ethan stole a lease. He didn't steal my mind. And that was the mistake that would cost him everything. Victor said, if you want control, stop announcing your pain. I'm not announcing anything, I said. I'm just working. That's the point, he replied. Silence confuses people who expect noise. Lena asked, so what happens now? Victor said, now he waits. I frowned. Waits for what? For you to disappear, Victor said. And you won't. I met Ethan outside a cafe by accident. He smirked. Didn't think you'd show your face. I didn't plan to, I said. He laughed. Still unemployed? I said calmly, still learning. He leaned closer. You should move on. I have, I said. He looked annoyed. Good. That told me everything. That night, Maya said, you didn't even react. I reacted internally, I said. She asked, is that healthy? It's necessary, I replied. Victor called. Funding is approved. I gripped the phone. All of it? Yes, he said. But don't celebrate. I won't, I said. Good, he replied. Because celebration leaks. Days passed without sound. No emails. No confrontations. Lena said, he hasn't noticed. That's the idea, I said. Maya watched me review documents. You're different. I'm careful, I said. She said, you're cold. I'm focused, I replied. Mr. Collins emailed. We need to move quickly. I answered, I'm ready. Victor said, remember, this isn't about revenge. It's about position, I said. Exactly, he replied. We met in a small office. Mr. Collins said, your offer is clean. It needs to be, I said. He asked, why not negotiate harder? Because time is leverage, I said. Victor smiled. Mr. Collins nodded slowly. You're not who I expected. I wasn't either, I said. Maya waited outside. Did you win? I said, not yet. She sighed. I don't know where I fit anymore. I said, that makes two of us. She looked hurt but didn't argue. Victor handed me a folder. Final review. I flipped pages. Numbers felt heavy, real. You understand what this means? Victor asked. I do, I said. No shortcuts. Good, he said. Sign when ready. I didn't rush. Lena whispered, I'm proud of you. Don't be, I said. Not yet. The next morning, Ethan emailed. We should talk. I deleted it. Victor said, he's sensing something. Let him, I said. When I signed, there was no rush of joy. Just stillness. Mr. Collins extended his hand. Congratulations. I shook it. Thank you. Victor said, you're the owner now. I nodded. Maya asked later, how do you feel? I thought. Grounded. She said, I don't recognize this path. I didn't recognize betrayal either, I said. She went quiet. I walked through the building alone. Empty halls. Clean walls. No memories yet. Victor said, power doesn't shout. I know, I said. It waits, he added. I looked at the keys in my hand. No cheering. No revenge speech. No witnesses. Just preparation. Ethan thought the game was over. I knew it had just entered its quiet phase. And silence, I was learning, is where real power grows. Why are you in my building? Ethan asked, laughing as he walked toward me. I said, your building. He stopped smiling. What are you doing here? I own the place now, I said. He scoffed. That's not funny. I'm not joking, I replied. He looked around. Where's Mr. Collins? I replaced him, I said. He laughed again, louder. You always had a weird sense of humor. I pulled out the folder. Check the name. He grabbed it. His hands slowed. This isn't real. It's signed, I said. Stamped too. His face drained. You can't do this. I already did, I replied. He whispered, you're lying. I said, you told me promises don't pay rent. That's different, he snapped. How? I asked. I was protecting the business, he said. You were protecting yourself, I said. Employees stared. Someone whispered. Ethan hissed, not here. You made decisions here without me, I said. Seems fair. He pulled me aside. Let's talk privately. We are, I said. His voice dropped. You're being emotional. I said calmly, I'm being factual. He said, you wouldn't even be here without me. I replied, and you wouldn't be here without what I built. He clenched his jaw. What do you want? I want the truth, I said. He laughed nervously. Truth? Yes, I said. Say it. He said, I thought you'd slow us down. I nodded. There it is. He added, you hesitated. I trusted, I corrected. He snapped, same thing. No, I said. One builds. One steals. He looked around again. You can't fire me. I can, I said. Lease breach. Ethical violation. He shook his head. You won't. I will, I said. Security approached. Ethan raised his hands. This is insane. I said, so was locking me out. He whispered, we were brothers. You buried that, I said. He stepped closer. Think about what this does. I have, I said. He said, you're ruining everything. I said, you already did. Mr. Collins walked in quietly. Is there a problem? Ethan snapped, you sold to him? Mr. Collins said, you signed what you signed. Ethan looked at me. You planned this. I prepared, I said. That's revenge, he said. No, I replied. This is consequence. He swallowed. At least give me time. I gave you trust, I said. You spent it. He lowered his voice. Be fair. I asked, were you? Silence. Employees looked away. I said, your lease ends in 30 days. He shouted, you can't just erase me. I'm not, I said. I'm ending my part. He laughed bitterly. You think you won? I think I survived, I said. He shook his head. You're not the same man. I know, I said. He looked at me like a stranger. I don't recognize you. You weren't supposed to, I replied. Security stepped closer. Ethan backed away. He said quietly, you'll regret this. I said, I already did. He walked out fast. No speech. No dignity. The room stayed silent. Mr. Collins said, do you need anything else? No, I said. I'm good. He nodded and left. An employee asked, are we safe? I said, if you work honestly, yes. They nodded. When I sat in the office, my old chair was gone. I didn't miss it. I didn't feel happy. I felt clear. The tables hadn't just turned. They'd been rebuilt. And for the first time since everything broke, I was sitting on the right side of them. Sit down, the HR manager said. Let's keep this professional. Ethan laughed. This is a setup. It's a meeting, I said. You used to like those. He glared at me. You planned this. I documented this, I replied. The lawyer cleared his throat. We're here to review contractual violations. Ethan said, this is revenge. I looked at him. It's procedure. He leaned forward. You don't get to judge me. I don't, I said. The facts do. The lawyer slid papers across the table. Unauthorized lease execution. Misrepresentation. Breach of fiduciary duty. Ethan waved a hand. Technical nonsense. I said, you called it business. He snapped, you're enjoying this. I'm ending it, I said. The HR manager asked, do you dispute these claims? Ethan looked at me. You really want to do this? I said, you already did. He turned back. I built this company. You leveraged it, I said. I built it. He scoffed. You're rewriting history. I'm reading documents, I replied. The lawyer said, please answer the question. Ethan slammed the table. Fine. I signed. Alone, the lawyer asked. Yes, he snapped. Without consent, she continued. Yes. Silence filled the room. The HR manager said, then we have grounds. Ethan laughed weakly. You'll regret this. I said, I regret trusting you. He looked at me. You think this makes you better? It makes me finished, I said. The HR manager read carefully. Effective immediately, your role is terminated. Ethan stood. You can't fire me from my own vision. I said, vision without ethics collapses. He stared at me. Say it to my face. I'm ending our professional relationship, I said. As of now. His voice cracked. After everything? Yes, I said. Because of everything. He looked around the room. This isn't fair. I asked quietly, was locking me out fair? He said nothing. The lawyer said, please return company access. Ethan pulled keys from his pocket. Dropped them. There. The sound echoed. Maya watched through the glass. She looked shocked. Ethan followed my gaze. She knows? She sees, I said. He shook his head. You changed. I adapted, I said. He picked up a box. You'll miss me. I said, I already did. He stopped at the door. This ends badly. For you, I said. It already has. He left. The HR manager exhaled. Are you okay? Yes, I said. I expected worse. The lawyer smiled. You were calm. I waited long enough, I replied. Maya entered. That was controlled. I didn't want a scene, I said. She whispered, I'm sorry I doubted you. I don't need apologies, I said. I need honesty. She nodded slowly. Lena texted, is it done? I replied, yes. She sent back, proud of you. I stood alone in the room. No cheering. No victory speech. No satisfaction rush. Just space. I realized something then. Firing him didn't cost me sleep. It didn't cost me peace. It didn't cost me my values. What cost me everything once was silence. This time, I spoke. And when the door closed behind him, it didn't feel like revenge. It felt like relief. You don't look relieved, Maya said. I am, I replied. I'm just not celebrating. She sat across from me. Ethan's already spiraling. I figured, I said. He's calling people, she added. Blaming you. I nodded. That's his pattern. She hesitated. Clients are leaving him. I didn't push them, I said. I know, she replied. They just don't trust him. I leaned back. Trust leaves quietly. Maya studied me. Do you feel bad? For him? I asked. Yes. I thought. I feel finished. She frowned. That's it? That's enough, I said. She sighed. I don't know where I fit anymore. I met her eyes. I was going to say the same thing. She went still. So this is goodbye? It's honesty, I said. She whispered, I stayed through the worst. I know, I said. And I'm grateful. But, she asked. But I changed, I said. And you shouldn't have to chase that. She nodded slowly. I hoped you'd go back. I can't, I said. She stood. Then I'll go forward. I watched her leave. It hurt, but it didn't break me. Lena called later. I heard. He's done, I said. I meant Maya, she replied. I know, I said. She said softly, growth costs. I can pay, I replied. Victor stopped by the office. You handled it clean. I didn't touch him, I said. You didn't need to, he replied. I asked, what happens now? You build, he said. Slow. Right. I nodded. No shortcuts. That's why you'll keep it, he said. I walked through the office alone. Desks half empty. Phones quiet. An employee asked, "Is it over?" "For now," I said. "Work speaks louder than drama." They smiled, relieved. Later, an email came in. Lawsuit pending. Victor called immediately. "It's weak." "I'm not afraid," I said. "Good," he replied. "Fear feeds men like him." I stared out the window. He lost everything fast. Victor said he lost it when he signed a loan. I thought about Ethan packing his box. His hands shaking. I didn't feel joy. I felt distance. Lena texted, "Dinner tonight?" I replied, "Yes." She sent back, "You sound lighter." I typed, "I am." That night, I sat in the office longer than needed. No one rushing me. No one watching my moves. No one waiting for permission. I realized something quiet and important. Winning didn't heal me. Revenge didn't satisfy me. Silence didn't protect me. Clarity did. I didn't need Ethan to fail. I needed myself to stand. And for the first time since the lease, since the betrayal, since the fall, I felt steady. Not powerful. Not proud. Just steady. And that was enough. "Are you happy?" Lena asked as she set the plates down. I thought for a moment. "I'm clear." She smiled. "That's new." "Clarity feels better than happiness," I said. "Happiness fades." She nodded. "You sound older." "I feel sharper," I replied. She leaned back. "Do you miss him?" I answered honestly. "I miss who I thought he was." "That's fair," she said. I walked into the office the next morning. The lights came on quietly. No tension. No eyes watching me. An employee said, "Morning." "Morning," I replied. Another asked, "Everything stable?" "Yes," I said. "Let's keep it that way." Victor called later. "The lawsuit won't go anywhere." "I didn't expect it to," I said. "You expected him to try," he replied. "Of course," I said. "That's who he is." Victor paused. "You handled power well." "I learned the hard way," I said. "That's the only way," he replied. I sat at my desk and looked around. The walls were still bare. No photos. No slogans. I liked it that way. A message popped up from an unknown number. "You ruined my life." I stared at it. Then I typed back. "You chose your path." No response. Lena texted, "Still good for dinner?" I replied, "Always." I stood and walked to the window. Cars moved below. People rushed somewhere important to them. No one knew my story. That felt right. I remembered the night Ethan said, "Together or nothing." I whispered, "You chose nothing." I didn't say it with anger. I said it with acceptance. Later, an employee asked, "What's your long-term vision?" I said, "Honest work. Clear rules. Shared wins." He nodded. "That's rare." "So is trust," I replied. When the office emptied, I stayed. Not because I had to. Because I wanted to. I spoke aloud. I didn't win by destroying him. The room stayed silent. I won by refusing to disappear. I thought about Maya. About who I was with her. About who I became. I didn't regret the love. I respected the lesson. Victor once told me, ownership is responsibility. Now I understood. I owned my decisions. I owned my silence. I owned my mistakes. And I owned the building. But more than that, I owned my name again. No partner could take that. No contract could erase it. No betrayal could weaken it. I locked the office and held the keys. I remembered the day I first held keys with Ethan. How proud I felt. This pride was different. It didn't need approval. It didn't need witnesses. It didn't need revenge. It was quiet. As I walked away, I realized something simple. Some people steal leases. Some steal credit. Some steal trust. But they forget one thing. The man who builds once can build again. Stronger, smarter, and alone if needed. I didn't lose a partner. I gained myself. And that was the only ownership that truly mattered.